All right, guys. Welcome to this today's episode of the Hinkieittes Podcast, Hinkieittes 76ers Podcast. All right. I'll be your host. My name is Bruce. Got my co-host here.
What's up? I'm L Lamar. Call me L. You see my name right there. Call me L. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's get right into it, man. It's a crazy season right now. Crazy season. And today we just want to get into the pros and cons of this year's season. And we want to talk about some of some of the good outlook as far as the development, some of the new moves that are being made, all these things that are happening because it's like it's a wild spiral of like it's a little bit of bad happening right now, but we got some good things to look forward to. So right off the bat, let's jump right into it. As far as the whole Sixers development, which is a big thing for us, what we need right now. Um, yeah, man, how do you feel about our current undrafted stars starting to rise, like Justin Edwards and Ricky Council.
Uh, well, I feel really good about them. I just being realistic. I feel a lot better about Justin than I would say Ricky. Only because Justin is guaranteed to get the kind of playing time going forward that any team will
Hmm.
want their young player to see. Ricky,
Yep.
not so much because of his limitations and his style. I want to see him get more playing time, but with the addition of Lonnie Walker as well today,
Yep.
um, I expect to see Ricky probably get less time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually I'm a little torn by that because obviously Ricky Council, undrafted player, coming from the G League, but he brings a punch that we need. He brings a lot of energy. He's bringing things to the table that some would say somebody like Tobias Harris wasn't even bringing. Remember when we first got to start getting a look at Ricky. He was bringing things like he was making passes. He was getting assists. I think recently he had like his most assists in a game. Um,
Career high against the Celtics.
against the Celtics. I mean, so he's not even scared of the moment. He's going up against champions, and he was a big contribution to us going up about 26 points on the champions. So um, it's like I'm torn by the fact that he might start losing. Well, I mean, he's already been losing minutes because for some reason Nurse doesn't. I don't know. Nurse doesn't want to develop him. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I'm just kind of torn on that. But at the same time, you bring up Lonnie Walker. You know, straight from Reading, PA. You know what I mean? He was killing them out there in Reading. He's like a legend out there for real, for real. But we see what he brings. We saw what he did when he played with LeBron and Anthony Davis. So it's like, we need that. We need that, especially off the bench. Like we need something like that. Um, and Justin Edwards, like talk about some of the things that Justin Edwards is really like bringing to the table and why he's so valuable right now. Like why he was like a hidden gem for us.
Um, well, in the beginning of the year, the biggest disappointment was probably the shooting on the entire team.
Yep.
Um, Kelly couldn't hit a shot. Caleb could barely bring his arms together to shoot a jump shot. And we started off losing.
Yeah.
And it just, it really wasn't a good. Now, I think they played both good defense individually, but you know, to be committed to these two guys as potential starters for the long term and have them come out like that, it really hurt the team to the point where Caleb even got moved. But with
Yeah.
Justin, for him to be the same age as a college freshman and to come in and play good defense, Not elite defense, but to be a undrafted rookie at the youngest age he could possibly be, to have arguably some of the most consistent shooting we've had in the team this year. To
Definitely.
be able to guard those wings positions and really versatile. Honestly, he's played some two, three, and four. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. How about that?
yeah, and also if you look at the plus minus column on a lot of those nights where we win, he's always he's always a part of the lineups where we do the best. So, he
Yep.
immediately kind of feels like a veteran rotation wing. And he hasn't even really been able to play with Joel. So really excited to see what he'll be able to do going forward with more development and more familiarity with the veterans.
Yep. Yep. And another interesting thing is like now we're starting to move into like we're going into an era where we're getting younger. Like in the beginning of the season, it was interesting that Daryl Morey, you know, he kind of was investing in some of the older guys, and we're starting to see that that is not the direction that the league is going into. Some of those players are still good. They still have things that they can bring to the table, but some would say they're getting ran off the floor, defensively. Not always consistent, like, guys like Reggie Jackson and all that. Guys like Caleb Martin, like you said, he got moved, but now let's go into that. I mean, we just had a recent move where he got moved for Quentin Grimes, much younger player who's looking like a much better fit. He can shoot the three, um, shoot on the night that against the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
Paul George only had 2 points. This guy just joined the team and he already dropped a 30 ball. I mean, I didn't see that coming. Did you see that coming?
I've been a fan, like I said in the group chat. Um, I'm not trying to take credit, but I immediately said as soon as we got him, and Quentin Grimes is one of my favorite players because one this stems from when we were in the process. Whenever there's a young player with potential that gets moved around, all the young rebuilding teams are like, "Ooh, hurry up and get him! He's the hidden gem," you know. And you know, I've always felt that way about Quentin Grimes. I like his upside, as kind of like a wing guard wing.
Yep.
Um, he kind of reminds me of Jaden Springer a lot. Except he has
Hmm.
like better size and like a better shot. Um, Not the same intangibles as Jaden Springer.
Hmm.
Not as good of a defender, but just a better all around player and definitely more ready to play now.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up the defensive aspect because that was my that was my issue with the trade at first. Because obviously Caleb Martin, I felt that he brought some good defense, and I felt like he brought some experience coming from playing with Jimmy Butler, making it to the finals. You know what I mean? He had that kind of experience, but he wasn't always consistent. Uh, with his jump shot. Sometimes being found in the corner and just not hitting. I mean, even his form is a little wacky. I don't know if you kind of remember that, but
Yeah.
he also had stretches where he had success, but then he became a little more injury prone. So I was like, man, maybe this move doesn't really move the needle too much. But like I said, after seeing this, it's like, listen, Caleb Martin was never going to give you 30 points.
No.
Like even on a night where you really needed him to step up or something like that, he was never going to be the guy to do that. So
Yeah, no.
that's kind of like that's another surprise. Um,
And
and it's
he's the same
go
age
ahead.
as Maxi, by the way, Quentin Grimes.
See, going
Very
younger, going younger. I mean, we need that. These younger guys a lot healthier. Moving with more pace. They're also at that age where you can mold them. Somebody like him, he could still, under the right development, under the right coaching, he can still be molded and fit right around, the core that we have. Obviously with the three ball, that should really work next to Embiid. And that goes into another topic. It's like obviously you see we just got Lonnie, we got Quentin. We have a real need for elite young wing talent. Like we really need that. We really
Yeah.
need that. I love Paul George. I understand that he was like the best catch and shoot 3 point, 3 point guy. But at the same time, he's fulfilling his own prophecy as far as what everybody was saying about him. It's like, yo, this dude's gonna be injury prone. Like this is just him. It's not necessarily his fault. I don't, I mean, shoot, in the beginning of the season, my man started out the season hyperextending his knees. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that
but
was horrible. That was
but
horrible.
but shoot, man, I'd like to bring up this is a little controversial, but one of the things that you talked about was possibly looking into Zion Williams and possibly if possible swapping out uh Paul George for Zion and how much more dangerous that would look next to Embiid. It's like kind of go into that because that's a very creative and interesting that's an interesting move, you know. Like if you were the GM and you had that opportunity, you're definitely pulling the trigger on that.
Well, all things considered, yeah. I mean, last year when first, let's talk about the thought process of preparing to have the space to get a Paul George.
Mm,
What you're really doing is you're trying to use free agency to get a third star,
hmm Yep.
and preferably someone that plays in between your two established stars that does something that they don't do.
Yep.
Um, and in theory, a Paul George, he's kind of like you could put him on any team and he could be the third star, in theory.
In theory.
But there's some complications that our team has, and there's some complications that he has where there's overlap. And this year was the manifestation of that overlap, right?
Mm,
So Joel, who is a career 52 game per year guy, and that's
yeah.
taking out the first 2 years and not including this year, as he ages, um, it's just gonna negatively impact his availability, which is
Yeah.
gonna keep him because the best Joel is when he's in a 15, 16, 20 game stretch. It's going to be less of that. It's going to be more of him in and out. Um, and also, it can potentially impact his physical ability where
Mm,
he's able to establish himself on the court. And honestly, it probably makes him a harder contract to trade than a Paul George. Just because, you know,
mm,
most teams can't afford to have their best player. You can't trade for a guy like that. I mean, look at what Dallas is going through. They said Luca was injury prone, and then they trade for Anthony Davis, and then he got injured the first game. You
that
know,
was weird.
yeah, but I mean, he has a reputation of being injury prone, and it's always risky to have your best player be injury prone. And so, if the Sixers are going to go down with the Embiid thing, I know that the Zion injuries overlap with the Joel injuries. Like, obviously, that's that. But here's the difference. This year, because Zion didn't play enough games, he could have been waived by
Mm,
the Pelicans. Now they ultimately chose not to because they still want to recoup the value. You know what I mean? Um,
Yep.
and they still believe in him. Probably seen something with his medical. He's come back and played really well, even though he's been in and out. But
Hmm.
um, so the thought process there, honestly, is New Orleans gets some assets. They get a veteran who has a relationship with Trey Murphy, who is their budding star.
Yep. Yep.
Um, he'll probably play more than Zion.
Mm.
Um, and he's just easier to plug and play. And the logic for the Sixers is we can actually take that third slot, right? So there was no scenario of Paul George coming here and being the best player. There was no
No,
chance.
definitely not.
There is a chance with Zion, right?
Mm.
Like
Okay.
he's like
Okay.
if Zion is healthy, he's probably better than Maxey. And is he
Mm.
better than Embiid? I mean, that's another game. But again, if Zion doesn't work out, it's because he's injured. And guess what? If he doesn't play enough games, that's a contract that we can waive. And that opens
Okay.
up
Okay.
opportunities for us to continue to be aggressive. Whereas we can sit on that Paul George contract and he can as he gets he's 35, as he get ages, like, do you think he'll gain or lose value? So that would be the bet. That's the bet that I'm making.
Oh,
Um
okay. Yeah, I see where you're going there. Yep.
you see the
Yep.
thought process,
It's
so
a
you
lot
know
less of a risk.
less of a risk, right? So and he's young too. I mean, obviously we would have to look at the medicals and we would have to do that kind of thing to have a more, different kind of look. But I mean, it's a gamble we're we're taking. For all intents and purposes, Paul George has been just as injury prone as Joel. And he's newer to the team, so
Yep. Yep.
that's just as harmful.
Yeah. Playoff P, podcast P. He's definitely he's a high risk right now, and it's sad because we really only needed him to just be that well, be a high level DN3 guy, right? Who could give you more than Tobias Harris gave you, right? Like, let's keep it real. At the end of the day, Tobias Harris could never even sniff the level that Paul George was able to reach in his career. And you look at it like, man, if we had Paul George against the Knicks last year, we probably beat them, right? I mean, hypothetically, in theory.
So before the season started, I believe I said that, but now I don't think so. I think I think because you got to think about it, like, all right, game two, Kyle Lowry does that dumb stuff, chokes away the game. Is Paul George super
Yeah.
clutch? Is he gonna save the day? Like, I
We
don't
thought
know.
we got Kyle Lowry for veteran experience, champion experience. I don't know
Look,
where that.
chemistry with the
Oh man,
coach. They won a championship together, these two. So yeah, no, they literally choked away a game that we were winning
it was over. It
in
was
the
literally
last like
over.
30 seconds. This the first round. We're not talking about championships. Like, this is the first round.
Right, right. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't want to be negative, but
Nah, nah.
I no longer think if we had Paul George last year that we would have beat the Knicks.
Mm. Yeah, I guess especially when you think about how the Clippers lost to the Mavs with all that star power.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
it's interesting. I mean, listen. I was always, as much as I like Paul George, because I remember his days with Indiana. You know, when he challenged LeBron, he was going back and forth with Bron, and
yeah.
you saw some of the things he did with Westbrook And even like I said, even making it to the third round in the West, him and Reggie Jackson, what I mean? But I was always a little skeptical about him because there was that time in that one series. I forget who they were playing, but he shot a three in the corner and it hit the side of the backboard.
You're talking about Game 7 in the bubble against the Nuggets, and they were up
Yeah,
3. They was up
yeah.
3-1.
What happened? Like you don't hit the side of the backboard unless you're like that's nervous energy. One of the best catch and shoot three-pointer 3-point shooters
Ever.
hitting the side of the backboard in a game set. I mean, come on, man. At that point, like, and that's a thing. Like, if I was a GM, I would look for things like that when you try to build a team. You got to look at character. You got to look at character, mentality. There's people that don't score as many points as certain other players, but in big moments they rise. You know what I mean? They're not scared. So that's why I can't.
Should have listened to Evan Turner.
Yeah, how about that? How about that? Another Sixers guy that was supposed to be on that level. He's supposed to take the keys from Iguodala and ended up not necessarily not necessarily being that, but he
He was
was
a
right.
bust. He's a bust. He's a bust.
He was he
Yeah,
he was right though.
yeah.
Um, but so
Takes one to
yeah,
know
so
one, I guess.
right, 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 right. So I mean, with that being said, that's why it makes sense to go young because again, we also have issues like I mean, even Joel Embiid. This is where people start to talk about the Sam Hinkie tank option because you got Joel Embiid where let's be real, man. His health outlook. I mean, he's was he 30 now? He's about 30 now, right?
I think, yeah, 30, 31.
Okay, so he's 30, 31 years old. He opted to play in the Olympics knowing he was hurt, knowing he was still extremely hurt. And now we see him now. He can't stay on the floor and he needs another surgery. So it's like,
Which for some reason he hasn't. They haven't said Joel Embiid is out for the remainder of the season yet because he's getting surgery. We don't. He might play this week.
yeah, yeah. I mean, at this point, it's like, what for? Because clearly we saw in the Knicks series that, well, I would say in the Knicks series and in the Celtics series when we had James Harden last. When James Harden won, he won those two games for us, beat the Celtics,
Yeah,
and it was looking like we was gonna take them.
yeah.
And B comes back, helps us win a game, and then in game seven, we fall apart. That's scary too because it shows that maybe he potentially is not able to rise in the moment. Because how do you come back and get us one game and then we just fall apart? I mean, it's just starting to look like maybe we might need to start considering like giving up. Like, do you remember? Ironically, Paul George. Do you remember when Paul George kind of came into play on Indiana and he kind of slowly took Danny Granger's spot? And Danny Granger was one of the best scorers. Like, dude was nice.
Yeah,
Dude was nice, but
yeah.
couldn't stay on the floor. And they eventually moved on from him. And look, they made it to game seven of the Eastern Conference Finals, and they were consistently a contender. So,
Well,
yeah, I
the
mean,
difference was that he
how do
wasn't
you
on a.
feel about that? How do you feel about possibly tanking for another big?
Well, so
Well,
before I,
given the draft class, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
So before I even say what my thoughts on tanking are, this is what I'll say. If our pick is not in the top 6, it goes to Oklahoma City.
Damn.
Okay.
Okay.
What place in the standings do you think the Sixers are right now? Just take a lucky guess. It's a lucky number.
Aren't we like 11?
7.
We are?
We're the 7th worst team in the NBA.
Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. I could have sworn we was at
We're
we done
7th.
we done crept in.
Yeah, pull up Tankathon. We are. Oh, I'm sorry. We're six right now. We're the six worst. We're tied with Brooklyn.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, what are my thoughts on tanking? This is what I'll say. Um, and then I'm speaking as someone I haven't missed a Sixers game since the promise of Andrew Bynum to play. Okay. And what I mean by that is the year we got Andrew Bynum, I watched every game because I was so excited about him playing. And I
Hmm.
guess I'm so excited to this day. I'm still waiting for Andrew Bynum to suit up. But this is what I'll say. Uh we came into the year wanting the Sixers to win. That is we are 20 and 34. So we thought that we were going to be competing against the New York Knicks, who are 36 and 18.
Hmm.
And the Celtics, who are 39 and 16, right? We're 20 and 34. So if we could have won every game we lost and lost every game we won, then we would be competing with Brooklyn. I mean, I'm sorry, with Boston and the Knicks, but we're not. We're almost 20 games under Boston. They have 19.
Yeah.
We have 20 wins. They have 19 more wins than us. Okay, that's reality. They have 16 losses. We have 20 wins. Like,
Mm.
so there's nothing positive from this year except the rookies and Yabusele and
Yeah.
potentially getting a top pick. That and Quentin Grimes. um, we're gonna keep the rookies. They're already under contract.
Hmm.
Quentin Grimes, we're going to extend. Jared McCain will return and continue to develop, just like
Yep.
everybody else.
Yep.
And those are things that are not affected by a foolish attempt at winning right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
we shouldn't try to win. We should we should sit Paul George, have him because he actually got a tendon on his finger and was torn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
go have tendon
Pinky.
repair surgery. Okay, out for the season.
Yep. Yep.
Joel Embiid. I heard them the other night in the middle of a game say he needs surgery.
Hmm.
Out
He
for the
said it. He even
out for
said
the
it.
season. Go. Don't out for the season. Um,
I mean, yeah. I mean, we play the Celtics this Thursday.
yeah, out for this.
What would be the
Fit.
point of him coming back and hobbling?
Yeah, no, because no. I mean, if there's something wrong with your knee that you can't play, and you know you need surgery, go get the surgery. And then the next time you play for us, hopefully it'll be with Cooper Flag or Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, or somebody, or Zion Williamson. But
Mm. Yeah.
seriously, I'm all in for the tank. I'm gonna watch the games whether we have a chance at winning or not from start to finish.
Yep. Yep.
So
So
whether I'm gonna watch Justin Edwards and Ricky Council and Jeff Doughton and Jared Butler, it doesn't matter. Um, we should lose. We should. Washington has 9 wins. We should try to
yeah.
finish like as bad as possible
I
because
mean, there's definitely more upside there.
yeah,
I think we really should start to target upside instead of trying to. I don't know. I mean, like instead of trying to rely on these big name stars who are they're old. They're
and how
old.
about
I mean,
this? How about
yeah,
this? What if you saw Luca just get traded? What if Anthony Edwards wants to be traded? Well,
wants to
okay,
become
Cooper.
available.
Well, we can think. Let's think. Like Cooper Flag. Or what if it's like Jared McCain and Paul George? Like, who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm.
so it doesn't hurt to have more ammunition. It doesn't. and we should look. You're not gonna you're not gonna just get what Boston has. You know what I mean?
Right,
You're not
right,
just
right,
gonna
right.
just get that. We're lucky to have what we have. Like to have Maxi
Yeah,
and McCain and to have a player like Embiid that we drafted a long time ago. Like this is all really
yeah.
lucky. You know what I'm saying? Justin Edwards, very lucky. You're not gonna just get what OKC has. You're not
That's
gonna do
why.
that.
That's why I question because listen, everything you're saying is right, right? And we need more ammunition, but again, the ammunition is going to come from new guys, younger guys who are not necessarily proven, but who have that type of they have that type of potential, and it's like legit potential. It's like it's not even something that you have to hope for, right? So this is where I get into, along with the issues of like Joel Embiid and Paul George and going young. Do we have the right coach for this? Do we? You know, what I mean, this is a big thing because if we do go in that direction, which it seems like it seems like Daryl Morey is doing.
I just want to
What's
put
that?
this on the screen for you. Hold on, let me take this off. So Sixers fans, I know y'all are familiar with this website, tankathon.com. In the beginning of this, the Sixers were at the sixth spot because we had the sixth record, and what it does is it shuffles the lottery. You see who won the lottery, right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Sixers.
Yeah. Okay.
What was your question?
Nah, I mean that's
Gotta
crazy, but
believe. Gotta
I'm just
believe.
thinking like,
I pressed it one time, bro. One time I pressed it.
and
Philadelphia
it ended up being the
number one.
Sixers. That's kind of crazy. I mean, it just says to me, it's like, man, we need to start preparing for that. And like I said, is Nick Nurse the guy for that? Because like I said, I'm watching that Celtics game. Like I said, I caught that game late. Caught that game late. My dad called me and he was like, "Yo, are you watching the Sixers game? Cut that on right now because the Sixers are destroying the Celtics by like 30."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What are you talking about? About 30?" I cut the game on and I'm looking at who's playing. I'm watching Ricky Council zoom down the paint and just scoring all over him. So just killing Porzingis and them. And you see Maxi, he's hitting threes all over the place. Like you see the young guys stepping up and they're coming with speed and explosiveness. Something that some of these, you know, these slower, you know, veterans aren't having. And it's again, it's not to say that the veterans don't have a place, but it's the fact that like we were giving the young guys more minutes. And it's unfortunate that these young guys are getting more minutes only because certain dudes are hurt, not because of the coach's creativity. You see what I'm saying? Again, like you know, before we got on here, we talked about how if you look at the Eagles, they just won a Super Bowl. Like you said about them winning the Super Bowl with rookies. You got rookies out there showing out in the Super Bowl against proven players, right? Nick Sirianni is a young coach who's creative. Howie Roseman, a GM who is putting in the work as a GM, also being creative. So when you got the GM's creativity matching the coach, you know, when you got the coach's creativity matching the GM's creativity, and you see how it was it was a fast track to success. You look at the Sixers, it's like again, like you know, Nurse, he's only doing that because he had to. In that Celtics game, he in the fourth quarter, he put Kyle Lowry back in. We immediately started to lose. Listen, love Kyle Lowry. He from Philly. You know, he won with the Raptors and Kawhi Leonard. We know his track record. But like we also can't deny that, man, as soon as he came in the game, bro, like once he stayed in the game, I should say, we blew a 30-point lead.
It's happened a lot this year, honestly.
30 points, bro, that's a lot, man. Like
He's worse than he was last year when we first got him.
right. And I mean, shoot, like you mentioned earlier, I mean, Kyle Lowry, again, I don't want to be negative about Kyle Lowry, but at the same time, we got to be real. I mean, he potentially lost us that series last year because I mean that first game. Oh man, I was on vacation watching that game too, man. That's gonna mess my night up, man. Because I literally turned around for 3 seconds. I turned around for 3 seconds. I'm talking to my girl, and before I know it, all I hear a bunch of commotion, and I look back, and I'm seeing Maxey losing the ball because of Kyle Lowry passing it to him
Forcing.
in a situation where he was set up to fail, man. It's just like
Listen,
it's just like I mean,
you know what's so
listen,
funny about perception? If that was Ben Simmons who did that, he would have got somebody would have shot him from the stand, you know?
yeah, he would have got crucified for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like it couldn't be more obvious and egregious that like, yo, play those young guys. So I say all of that to say, I go on that little rant to say, I don't think Nurse is that guy for that. I think we may have to start looking around because he's had plenty of time to make those moves and hasn't. And he hasn't. It just I think you said it best when it's like it's giving off Doc Rivers vibes.
The only
You
thing
know,
I'll say where I'll give Doc Rivers and Nick Nurse, well, to Nick Nurse hasn't had a full year of a healthy Joel Embiid.
that's true.
And I
That's
know
very
at
true.
one point we were like 32-8 last year before
Right.
Embiid got hurt. I mean, it was crazy. It was like 32-12 or something. It was like 26-8. You know, a very good record. Like we were gonna win 40 games before we lost 20, which is as Phil
Yep.
Jackson says, if you win 40 before you lose 20, you're a championship contender. That's what Phil Jackson always says. So
Okay.
you know, I would give Nick Nurse that. I think I think now that he's seen what Jared can do and what Justin can do,
Hmm.
that there's no scenario in which Jared and Justin won't be rotation players. Bona,
Yeah.
I
Fact.
don't know.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
I
We
don't
got to
know.
mention Bona. Bona. A raw talent. A raw
Very
talent.
athletic. Very good
Very
change of
athletic.
pace from Joel.
He's a shot blocking genius. Also, he also played well in the Celtics game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, very, very
Uh,
active, athletic, quick, supreme, not just big, like a supreme athlete, kind of very fast for his
mhm.
size, a leaper, confident. He had a big dunk over Giannis and Brooke Lopez that was really
Yup.
impressive. Um, yeah. I don't know that Nick Nurse will play him, even though he's oozing with potential, even though, the fan, they people talk about what the fans want to see. They never care about what the fans want to see.
No.
But we don't want to see. I mean, Andre Drummond is horrible too. So you know, I think it is in our best interest to play Bona, commit to
Hmm.
him as the backup big. Um, it'll bode well for us going forward, especially in a
Yep.
year where the only thing that we can do is to get development for guys going forward.
Going forward, development has always been one of the Sixers. It's been a shaky spot for them sometimes. But yeah, I mean, see, and that's the thing that throws me off. Is like you got that aspect where we haven't seen everybody at full strength. You know, it's hard to judge Nurse off of that, but still, it's like that level of like I said, that level of creativity. Because I know he's seeing them guys in practice. I know he's seeing them guys. So, but we'll see because he's still got some time. We'll see about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So these are the things for the Sixers right now, man. Like I said, pros and cons, pros and cons. We saw some good things. We had young prospects. We got a lot of young potential talent, but then we have aspects where like our big name stars, our veteran guys, aren't healthy. Do we have to prepare for another year without Embiid? And is that even necessarily a bad thing? You know what I mean? Because of the development of everybody else. Yeah, man, it's very interesting to say the least. Oh, one other thing I want to mention before we get out of here, it's like Maxi, man, they messed up my man Maxi's chance of being in the 3-point shootout this year. He might be the best 3-point shooter in the league. And I mean, if you saw the performance, of everybody this year. Like Maxi could have easily beat those guys. I mean, what do you think about that? What do you think about that? I think he could have took Tyler Hero.
Before the start of the year of this season, I would have said absolutely. Um, but now, uh, I mean, I'll say this: the 3-point shooting contest is essentially similar to a catch and shoot, but it's kind of like a pull up. Maxi
That's a
is
good
great at
observation.
catch
Yep.
and shoot. Maxi is a very
Hmm.
good catch and shoot, one of the best catch and shoot players I've ever seen. Pull up threes, he's very normal. I think that's something we learned this year. Like Jared McCain is probably already a better pull up 3-point shooter than Tyrese. Um,
That's possible. That's possible. Yeah. Yeah.
so that's
I
what I'll
mean,
say.
see, and yeah, see, I just keep finding some of these observations. Like in mentioning that, we noticed that Maxi, he doesn't always like he doesn't always have people around him who are going to spam the screens.
Yeah.
When he come around them screens and he pull up, you know what I mean? But like without that gravity, you know what I mean? Like I said, even players like Curry, even players like Kobe, they have people around them that are setting those screens or they're creating that gravity. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And pulling guys off of them. And it's like if you let that person run around and shoot open shots, they're gonna heat up. They're gonna heat up quick,
So
quick.
here's the thing with Maxi that I would like to explain, and this is something that I've
Mhm.
learned about his game this year. So
Okay.
when he's all right, you got Maxi and Embiid. Okay.
Hmm.
When Maxi is screening on Embiid, you have to overplay Maxi because if you don't play it right, you know that he can get it to Joel, and wherever Joel catch it at, he's a threat to score right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You got Maxi, you got Bona. All right, Bona screens for Maxi. Bona's not a threat. Why?
Okay.
Because even though he can catch a lob, can Maxi throw him the lob right there?
Mm.
Think about what a James Harden, Steve Nash, LeBron James, Magic Johnson would do if they seen Bona run into the rim. They're just gonna throw
Yeah.
it. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
that is a part of Tyrese's game, and I actually think I would think stylistically he would pair well with a athletic, fast lob catcher. Has yet to be seen. You would think, all right, Maxi Yabusele, pick and pop.
Hmm.
Combination of things. I do think Maxi can make that pop pass to anyone. But
Right.
Yabu requires a higher level passer because he got kind of a slow hitch. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. He do. He
Even
do.
though he's a 40% 3-point shooter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
These are the kind of things, and Maxi is not like a kind of guy. He's the kind of passer where he's gonna stop, take a dribble. You see what I'm saying? These
Hmm.
are the kind of
Right.
things that make a difference,
Yeah.
because the only way for me to negate my speed advantage is to slow it down. All right, and instead, and it is a skill to just make the pass instead of the responsible thing. And what they teach you is
Hmm.
stop. get your dribble, make sure you're on balance. By the time you do that, the advantage is gone. This is what it takes to
Right.
be a high level facilitator in the NBA, okay? And you know, and that's why I kind of think back to like when I fell in love with Maxi as a like his player, his skills, and I seen these things. It was like, I didn't see a big isolating, a big like 30 dribbles guy. I
Mm-hmm.
seen someone he was able to play around other good players,
Mm-hmm.
and he's an ultra efficient counter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very, very
And when he's
decisive.
on the heater, you can feed him. And now we're seeing the opposite of that. We're seeing like, oh, he can score a lot, so here's the ball. No, because the shots he's going to create, he's just not good at. He's not great at.
Can can somebody like Dylan Harper make that pass?
Absolutely. I think Jared McCain can make that pass as well.
Mm.
He's a rookie that played 20 games, and maybe
Yep.
at this point in an alternate world where he didn't get injured, we would just naturally see the development. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because look,
Yeah.
they 20 and 34. What's that? 54 games? Where we at?
Mm-hmm.
54. All right, game 60. Nick Nurse is finally starting Maxie and McCain. You know how this thing go. I mean, it
Yep.
took him literally
Yep.
took this nigga 6 months to put it, but whatever. We would have seen it. We're not getting to see that in this reality. It's fine. I think that Jared McCain is a great advantage creator,
Mm-hmm.
advantage maintainer,
Mm.
and just a more dynamic offensive player. Whereas he might not have that nuclear touch, that Maxi has. I think they can complement each other. So I don't mean to take away from your Dylan Harper take. I really like Dylan Harper. Um, but I think that what we have now is intriguing as well.
Think that's intriguing enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that Maxi could end up getting moved to the two. And I mean, just let him cook. You know what I mean? Like literally let him focus on doing what he does best. But the question is, you know, is that sustainable? Because how many backcourts have been that small but have been able to dominate? Do you got any examples on that? Because I know you kind of a your memory is there when it comes to these type of things.
So this is what I would say. In a best case scenario, it'd be like a Steph Jordan Poole kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the reason I say Steph and Poole and not like a Lillard and McCollum thing is
Okay.
because Lillard and McCollum, you know how I just explained like when we had Harden, Maxi got much better looks. You
Yep.
know what I mean? The thing about like certain players, and I think McCollum and Lillard are kind of like that. They like to create their threes, with some dipsy do before it.
Yep.
Where
Yep.
I think McCain and Maxey are more naturally like catch and shoot, knock it down, kind of like super role player catch and shooters. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
they're more in like a Kyle Korver dynamic shooter than a I gotta have it and dribble before I pull up. You know what I mean? And that's a
Right.
good
Right. Right.
thing.
Okay. I
That's a
see
good
that.
thing because we got
Okay.
other good players. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we've seen Maxi do that in the playoffs. I think McCain, we'll have to see. But I just think the kind of shooting that you can expect from them is going to be closer to like a Steph Jordan Poole, and kind of like it's just better for the team. They the other team, they know they can't leave them open. They're really guarding them tight, really really spacing the floor in a different kind of way.
Yep.
And Embiid, like because of Embiid's stature and the way he carry himself, you
Mm-hmm.
want to have little guards around him so he can do that little, because that's what creates an advantage, you know?
Yes, yeah, yep, I agree.
And so you have to think with more development, him and McCain will develop that too. And remember, everything we're doing with the Sixers is Embiid centric now and
Yep,
going forward. So you put him on the floor with them, it's like, all right, the defense, they stonewall his dribble handoff to Maxey, reverse it to McCain, you know, and you're staying within his wheelhouse of his strengths.
yeah.
Um, because one thing about Embiid, if you notice, when he plays with bigger guards, he's like a receiver, you know. There's not that like I can give it right back to you and you're in position to score thing.
Mm-hmm.
You notice it with Harden, it wasn't really like that. Harden just made the plays for Embiid, and Embiid finished it. But the
Yeah,
dynamic between Maxey and Embiid is that it's like it's they're playmaking for each other, you know?
yeah, yep.
Um and so when you add McCain in that as not only like a counter, just like he's open, swing it to him, but like I can reverse it to him and we can run the same play just on the other side. You know, I think that's how you get the most out of all of these people through Embiid as the hub, but he can go left or right, you know, and get
Mm-hmm.
the same kind of action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
So I don't want to talk too much like I'm not an NBA coach or anything like that, you know. But if you watch the game, you like these like we just said earlier, LeBron plays the same way his whole career. He wants to
Yep.
lay the ball up. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it
and
works.
it worked so much that he laid his way up into the number one all time scorer and all sorts of
Sure.
success off a layup.
It's a great
You know
point.
what I mean?
It's a great point.
And so you know, Embiid is a old dog. We don't want him to learn no new tricks. We just want to maximize his strength. His strengths is getting the ball where he likes the ball, dribble handoff with them guards. He can
Mm-hmm.
either give it to him or he can keep it, and that's how you get the most out of him. And you get good spacing, and yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. Well, guys, another great take from L. It's a great episode. Guys, make sure you check out this episode and get ready for the next one because we got the Celtics coming up. So we'll report back soon. Um, Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. We are the Hinkieittes. Signing out.
Appreciate y'all. Tap in. Tap in.